I got a pocket full of money, pocket full of Molly, grams of that shit that make that pussy taste salty. Yeah, my baby mama calling, yeah, nigga stalling. She need to. Give me 60 seconds of your time to put you up on some game. Trump rolled out the Russian red carpet for Vladimir in Alaska.
We're on the stage in Anchorage, Alaska, where President Donald Trump and President Putin addressed the press, but didn't take a single question. President Putin spoke first, and he talked about getting back to a more pragmatic, business-like relationship with Washington, said Ukraine was just one of the issues that was discussed, but gave unspecified details of what he called agreements that were reached. President Trump, though, was crystal clear. There's no deal until there's a deal. And he said he's going to be getting on the phone with his European and NATO counterparts, as well as, most importantly, President Vladimir Zelensky. At the end of his remarks, President Putin turned to President Trump in English and said,
next time in Moscow.
Oh, that's an interesting one. I don't know. I'll get a little heat on that one, but I could see it possibly happening.
President Putin had literally the red carpet rolled out for him today, and it remains to be seen what President Trump has gotten out of it. We're on the stage in
So Katharina Redan for the German press agency. A question to both presidents. Do you agree with President Trump that there's no need for a ceasefire and that peace negotiations should begin immediately?
Yeah, you want?
So, I think not the term is so important. Important is, and it matters, what's the effect. And the effect must be stop the killing. That's the most important part. Whether we call it a ceasefire or it's a peace deal, stop the killing. Point number one. Therefore, it is so important to have, as soon as possible, a trilateral meeting between the President of Ukraine, the President of the United States, and of Russia. I think very important is that there are clear timelines to be kept. So it's not the term itself, it's the content that matters.
Thanks so much. I totally agree with Ursula. And you know that from the very beginning, I think it was March when the President of the United States, he proposed ceasefire, like a first element, stopping killing. And we agreed it and we supported him. And I think it was very strong idea pushing Russia to real negotiations. And now we hear another signals. I think that we have to share all this with details and what Ursula said about and what we talked bilaterally and what we will talk now with all our coalition villains, with all the Europeans. And we have to share all our thoughts with President Trump. We need United States on our side. And I think that President Trump shared that we would need peace, but steps to this peace. We need, correct steps to have lasting peace. To stop Putin, it means not to make a pause in this war. Stop and have a lasting peace.
Ukraine over 3 years later.
For all of us.
Trump, Vladimir's little puppet, left Alaska the same way he came. No ceasefire, no war, not asking Russia troops to leave the Ukrainian border, nothing. But I believe, just my belief, that Trump is trying to assist Vladimir in capitalizing on more territory in Ukraine by any means necessary. If you notice, each and every time Trump is in a Russian meeting or dealing with any type of Russian issues with the public, he's always wearing a red tie. Always. We'll be right back. Times are changing fast, but many things are staying the same. With the Epstein and the Sean Puffy Combs case, it's a lot of light's been shined on sex trafficking. And it's not just with the rich and the powerful. You have sex trafficking trickling down even into your local backyard.
Joining us for 8 News at 6, I'm Roland Wilson. 8 News reporter Sahara Sriraman joins us live in studio tonight after speaking with leaders at Safe Harbor. And Sahara, you've learned the rise could point to something positive.
Roland, yes, the director of human trafficking services at Safe Harbor says they're seeing more survivors come forward and more professionals make referrals. This as the Sean Diddy Combs trial continues. While the organization says the rise isn't directly linked to the trial, I'm told it could be raising awareness.
One of the big questions always is, why don't they leave, right? The fear of abandonment and the manipulation and the wanting to be loved, it is very, very powerful.
Alexandria Wall, director of human trafficking services at Safe Harbor, says more Central Virginians are falling victim to human trafficking, some not noticing until it's too late.
When a lot of society looks at human trafficking as Hollywood depicts it, the white vans and the kidnapping, and shining some light on how it could look a little bit differently, perhaps has provided some education.
In the past 2 months, Wall says they've seen a noticeable increase in calls and assessments from police, social workers, and other frontline professionals.
What could potentially be playing a role is more education and more understanding of what it could look like.
Court-ordered assessments for minors also increasing in recent months. She says the Sean Diddy Combs trial, though not directly linked, may be spreading awareness.
People can realize this can happen to anyone, even famous, beautiful, rich people. It does not matter. We all have vulnerabilities. What made it even worse for her was the power and money and role he played in society, much stronger than most of the victims, traffickers that we work with.
Victims may believe they're in a real relationship, often depending on their trafficker emotionally or financially.
If comments are made like, oh, I'm doing this for us, or, I'm helping us make money so we can have a better life, and those types of things that they're living on these false promises and dreams is is a huge sign.
Others seeking or all.
Police say a 13-year-old girl who went missing earlier this month was forced into prostitution. A 25-year-old was arrested and charged last week. Advocates say the arrest highlights a much larger problem in North Texas. Fox's David Centendry with our story.
Well, this number might surprise you, but according to one local group working to stop sex trafficking in the area, it says on any given night in Dallas, about 400 underage girls are sex trafficked. A 13-year-old girl sex trafficked in Northwest Dallas between April 1st and April 8th, according to police, while her family desperately searched for her.
Over there by Webb Chapel and Royal Lane.
League of United Latin American Citizens local president Hilga Duarte translating for the girl's mother. Fox 4 is not naming or showing the mother, who says she's unsure what exactly led to her daughter being trafficked.
Or if she went on her own, did they take her or what?
25-year-old Jordan Davidson, charged with compelling prostitution under age 18. According to an arrest warrant, the 13-year-old admitted she got into a car with an unknown suspect who dropped her off at the homeless encampment off Harry Hines Boulevard. The girl told police she felt stuck as she did not know how to return home safely. The teen claims to have met Davidson, who at first taught her how to be safe and street safe, until allegedly forcing her to perform sex acts for money.
You know, it's always so heartbreaking when you see these
Quiet.
stories. It was also unsurprising.
Bianca Davis, CEO of New Friends, New Life, an advocacy nonprofit helping victims of sex trafficking.
18-year-old young woman is free from a hotel room where she says she and a friend were forced to have sex for almost a week. A man is now behind bars accused of trafficking the victims. Fox 59's Gabriela Mirando breaks down how yesterday's rescue and arrest happened all at once.
A probable cause affidavit says on Thursday, IMPD was called to a hotel on Wesleyan Road for a welfare check. Once there, an 18-year-old victim was taken to the hospital over human trafficking concerns. Later, telling detectives she was promised money in exchange for sex.
I can't even begin to imagine what this victim has gone through.
Back at the hotel, IMPD human trafficking detectives found a second victim and 31-year-old Lovey Grace. It's unclear what happened to the second victim, but Grace was arrested on a preliminary charge of human trafficking along with drug and corrupt business charges.
The investigation's still ongoing to identify how far-reaching these implications can be.
The first victim told detectives she and the other victim had been trafficked out of the hotel for 5 days, and that they had both given Grace their earned money to pay for the hotel rooms.
What we know about trafficking is that it is a psychological influence as well as physical.
Inside at least one of the hotel rooms, detectives found what they called evidence to indicate commercial sex. Cocaine and marijuana were also found, which Beth White, president and CEO of Indiana Coalition to End Sexual Assault, says is not an uncommon way to make victims obey.
Control has lots of different factors. It can be physical, emotional, mental, and also through criminal activity.
The first victim showed detectives bruising of where Grace had repeatedly hit her and said she was scared to try and leave. While her road to recovery is uncertain, IMPD says her freedom from Grace is the first step in a hopeful future.
Quiet. Times are changing fast, and we must keep our eyes open. This is not just a global issue. This is not just a local issue. This is the people's issue. You must keep your eyes open. We'll be right back. Micah is still not signed, and Jerry Jones did not draft Shador Sanders. So we're stuck with, where's Joe Mixon? and trashy will. Mediocrity trickles down, and it's trickling down all the way to the play on the field.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. How concerned are you about Joe Milton right now?
I wouldn't say I'm concerned. I mean, again, he, we didn't get into rhythm offensively. It's, what we did in the first half against the Rams, I think came out with a little bit of a different mindset in terms of trying to run the ball. They got him, they fooled him a little bit on the safety on the third down there. We're trying to get the ball out of his hand fast, and they showed down one side, Calvin, and brought the blitz from the other side, and it just spooked him, and he's got to try to throw that ball away. His feet were kind of talking to him, but it wasn't just Joe. I mean, we got to be able to run the ball better, got to take care of the football. He throws the ball with a lot of tempo. I thought Hunter had a ball, he could have made a catch on the over. And again, you hit a couple of those things and it gets you going. Sometimes, you need somebody to help you make a play. And I don't think we did a great job of that. I just told the guys, I said, hey, the bottom line is this, we're not going to say that that's just a preseason game. We're not just going to say, oh, we'll be fine. We're going to look at it, because the fact that, we really lost both halves, that is something that we have to get corrected.
Andrew Booth. Isaiah, he baited him for Andrew Booth.
See, Booth, you see exactly where his eyes are. He's looking in here at the quarterback right now. He's going to go ahead and go back to that give, but his eyes are still at the quarterback. He says, give me that like Chris Brown. Takes that thing back to the house. I'm going to make this a pick six. I need to be on this team. I need to be on this roster. I'm going to make sure that the coaches see me on film. Cooper Rush was looking at him the whole time. They might have had eye contact the whole time, Bill. Cooper Rush was looking, Andrew Booth was looking, and he said, I'm going to take advantage of this. He said, you want to see me? We need to see them have some interior push and be able to stop something up front.
And we saw 93 Jay Toya in the running room up the middle for Dearness Johnson, and he's inside the 35-yard line. Toya, the 7th-round draft pick out of UCLA.
Yeah, we're going to see it here. We're jumping around blocks right here, jumping around. And what ends up happening is you get washed out of the play. Wash, wash, wash. Everything gets washed out to the right side of your screen, and literally the running back has the entire backside of the line.
And, of course, even
with no Super Bowl appearances in the last 30 years, with no playoff appearance in the last 10 years, with a $60 million quarterback not even completing a full season in the last 4 years, pouring on 5 years. What the fuck are we doing? Can somebody tell me, what the fuck is the Dallas Cowboys doing?
I got a pocket full of money.